The Bridge That Never Was. Theme: government corruption, infrastructure fraud, and the price of silence. In the heartland of America, where small towns depend on government projects for growth, a bridge was supposed to unite two rural communities. Instead, it became a symbol of greed, deceit, and the darkest side of public administration. This is the story of the Bridge That Never Was. A forensic investigation that exposed a web of corruption stretching from local government offices to state-level politics. The project that never happened. In 2019, the Crescent River Bridge Project was announced by the Jefferson County government in Missouri. The proposed bridge would connect two isolated agricultural regions and stimulate trade across the state. The budget, $75 million, financed through federal infrastructure grants and state allocations. Local media hailed it as a symbol of progress. But 2 years later, there was still no bridge, no construction site, no workers, no materials. Yet county financial statements showed the project as 80% complete. The forensic red flag. The irregularities caught the attention of the Office of Forensic Oversight, OFO, a joint federal-state audit initiative monitoring infrastructure funds. Lead forensic auditor Sarah Donovan, a quiet but relentless investigator with a background in public sector fraud, was assigned to the case. Her first step, reconciling project expenditures with physical progress. The numbers didn't add up. $61 million had already been disbursed to a contractor named Riverside Infrastructure, LLC. But Riverside had no public record of projects, no official website, and no visible equipment leases or apparel activity. Something was very wrong. The Ghost Company. Sarah's team began tracing the corporate registration of Riverside Infrastructure. It led to a P.O. box registered to County Commissioner Henry Dalton's cousin. When investigators subpoenaed the company's bank statements, they found that the $61 million was immediately broken into smaller transfers to multiple personal accounts, luxury car dealerships, and offshore accounts under guise of consulting fees. The paper trail was clear. The company was a shell designed to launder public funds. But the question remained, how did it pass every layer of approval? Inside the county hall. To answer that, Sarah requested all documentation relating to the bridge project, feasibility studies, engineering contracts, procurement bids, and council meeting minutes. Half of the requested documents were missing. The remaining files were full of forged signatures and altered digital timestamps. It was no longer just financial fraud. It was a systemic cover-up. When Sarah interviewed Procurement Officer James Holloway, he hesitated before answering every question. Finally, he said quietly, "They told me to approve it or lose my job." Everyone knew the bridge was a ghost. 2 days later, Holloway was found dead in his garage, an apparent suicide. But the note found beside him contained only one line: "Tell Sarah to check File 27B. File 27B. In the county's digital archive, File 27B was buried deep in an encrypted folder. When decrypted, it contained a series of private emails between Commissioner Dalton, the county engineer, and a senior state senator. The correspondence revealed an organized scheme. Fabricate project proposals for high-visibility infrastructure. Secure state and federal grants. Funnel funds through shell companies controlled by associates. Use falsified inspection reports to mark progress milestones. Every payment was authorized using forged audit certifications, bearing the digital seal of a retired state auditor who had been deceased for over a year. Sarah realized the fraud wasn't local, it was statewide. The forensic collaboration. The Office of Forensic Oversight team escalated the case to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Public Integrity Unit. Joint forensic specialists reconstructed the entire money trail, mapping each transaction through blockchain verification and bank-to-bank metadata. Over 200 financial entries were analyzed, revealing a cascading chain of transfers totaling more than $84 million, well above the approved budget. Meanwhile, Sarah's life began to change. She noticed cars tailing her. Anonymous calls warned her to drop the bridge file. Even her agency supervisor received threats. But the forensic report was already nearing completion, and it was explosive. The breaking point. On June 14th, 2021, before Sarah could deliver the report to the Attorney General's office, the OFO headquarters suffered a break-in. Servers were wiped, hard drives stolen, and the backup vault set on fire. It looked like the case would collapse. But Sarah had anticipated sabotage. She had stored encrypted duplicates of files in an off-site forensic cloud system. Within 48 hours, she handed the report directly to federal prosecutors in St. Louis, bypassing local authorities. The indictments. The grand jury indictments that followed made national headlines. Commissioner Henry Dalton was charged with embezzlement, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. 2 state senators were charged with bribery and abuse of office. 6 county officials, including the finance director and procurement board members, faced charges of falsifying public records. The forensic report became the backbone of the prosecution. Sarah testified before Congress about weaknesses in infrastructure oversight, emphasizing how corruption in public works thrives on paperwork nobody questions. Her calm, factual testimony turned her into a symbol of forensic integrity. Justice served, or not. In 2023, after 2 years of legal battles, Dalton was convicted and sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. But the senators accused in the scandal received plea deals, reduced sentences in exchange for cooperation. The public outcry was fierce. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse chanting, "Where's the bridge?" To this day, the Crescent River remains uncrossed. The project was never rebuilt, its budget permanently tainted by scandal. The legacy of the investigation. Sarah Donovan later left the Office of Forensic Oversight to work as an independent forensic consultant. Her methods, cross-verifying procurement records with satellite imagery and blockchain audit trails, became a standard practice in public fund investigations. At a university seminar, she summarized her experience. Fraud doesn't always hide in complex algorithms or offshore accounts. Sometimes it hides in plain sight on a sign that says, "Bridge coming soon." Her case inspired legislative reforms mandating public access to all federally funded infrastructure audits. Corruption in public service isn't just about stolen money. It's about stolen trust. Every ghost project is a promise broken to the people who believed in progress. Demand transparency from local leaders. Question public spending, because accountability doesn't start in the courtroom. It starts with citizens who refuse to be fooled by bridges that never were.